welcome to another episode of the Brown and Black podcast. My name is Jack Rico.
And I'm Mike Sargent.
And every week we take a look at race and pop culture through a brown and black lens. Mike, I have just one question.
I'm ready.
Is One Battle After Another the best movie of 2025?
I'm going to go out on a limb because I haven't seen everything and say no. Now, are there good things? Yes. But I don't think it's the best movie of 2025.
Rise and shine.
Bat an eyelash.
Good morning.
There are no hands on the clock
Why?
because they're not needed.
What time is it?
Fuck.
One Battle After Another is a new film from Paul Thomas Anderson. And unless you've been living under a rock, you know it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Teyana Taylor, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, and a new actress named Chase Infinity. It's loosely based on the Thomas Pynchon novel called Vineland. This is a complete updating of the plot of that, and from what I understand, it's very loosely inspired. The premise is Teyana Taylor and Leonardo DiCaprio are part of a revolutionary, quote-unquote, group or activists called the French 75. And 15 years ago, they were blowing up shit and they were robbing banks and they were funding the revolution and they were going to change the world. But then they got caught. They specifically got caught by Colonel Stephen Lockjaw, played by Sean Penn. Something happens at that point. We cut to 15 years later. And that's really when most of this movie takes place. Leonardo DiCaprio has been in hiding with his daughter, the daughter that he had with Teyana Taylor's character. And in many ways, it becomes a lot like Terminator 2. He's paranoid. He has her do all kinds of weird things because people could be coming after him. But then eventually they do come after him. And that's where the movie kicks in.
So I remember having a phone conversation with you maybe about, I want to say like 3 weeks ago. And I caught you and you were like, hey, I'm at a movie screening right now. Everyone's just coming in. I'm about to see One Battle After Another, the new PTA film. And you said, dude, it's almost 3 hours. And I said, dude, are they still making these 3-hour films? And you said, dude, that first hour could be one of the best first hours of any film of the year. I had heard something like that.
All right. Now, actually, I said the final hour.
Okay.
The final hour, yes.
And, you know, I remember that there's someone that I know in the Hollywood industry right now that I truly, truly respect. And on her Instagram, she's like, I can't wait to see it again. So now that's 2. Then I met up with a friend of mine, and he tells me, yo, just went to the movies and saw this movie called One Battle After Another. I might have to see that movie again. Now, the reason I was stunned is like, okay, 3 people just said that they probably need to see this movie again. That is a 3-hour movie. That's mad respect for PTA. Making a movie 3 hours long, pretty much. I think you said it was 250.
Well, it's 242. That's what it is.
That someone wants to watch again. I'm in, dude. I'm in. And so that's why I asked you that question at the top of the show, Mike. But I do want to shift really quick to why we're talking about this movie. We want to highlight when these movies are so inclusive. They can be white, but they're black as well. And this movie has an interracial marriage between a white man and a black woman. And the daughter is a biracial daughter. But then Benicio del Toro is in it. And the last time we saw him in a PTA movie was with Joaquin Phoenix in Inherent Vice.
Also based on a Thomas Pynchon novel.
So my question is, how are the black roles in this movie treated? And how is the Benicio del Toro character as a Latino treated?
Those are two very specific questions, and they deserve completely different answers and different focus. So I'll go with Benicio del Toro. He plays a great character. He gives a great performance. He plays a character named Sergio, who they always call Sensei.
I need you, brother. Sensei, Sensei, please.
Courage, Bob. Courage.
That's it. Courage. Yeah. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you. God damn it. Viva la revolution!
He happens to own a martial arts center, and the daughter, Willa, played by Chase Infinity, she happens to be going there. She happens to be a student of his. So that figures into the plot, and this is a PTA movie where things that seem unconnected are connected. He is uber cool. He, in many ways, he's playing sort of a Latino Harriet Tubman. Because he's got an underground railroad to help,
like Mexodus,
like
episode.
Exactly like Mexodus. He's helping immigrants get into the country. Okay, that's his whole thing. He's got a whole.
He's a coyote.
He's a coyote. He's got a whole thing going on, and it's pretty cool. It's fun. Let me put it like that. It's fun, and I put fun in quotes here because this movie, in many ways, kind of defies category. I think that's why people like it, because it's been called a comedy action drama. It's been called a political tragic farce. You don't really know what to call this movie because it's got
what is it to you?
It's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. That's what it is.
Mean?
I have to preface to say that I'm not the biggest Paul Thomas Anderson fan. I think he does good work. I've liked
Boogie Nights, man.
All right. I'll admit something to you. I've never seen Boogie Nights.
All right.
Yes.
It was great that the era of the brown and black era has finalized today.
Yes.
We come to the end of the Brown and Black show. Mike did not see Boogie Nights, one of the great masterpieces, films of our generation.
True. So
you haven't seen that many PTA
No, I've seen a lot of PTA movies. I miss
You're just
Boogie
not
Nights.
vibing with it. What is it about it that you don't?
I think that he tends to say something like Magnolia. He says it in the first act. Then he says it again in the second act. Then he says it again in the third act. And I found it has moments of brilliance. And this movie definitely has some moments of brilliance. Like I said, that third act is amazing. But there's other things where you asked another question. How are the Black characters? Let me back up to say the good things about this movie are Benicio del Toro. All the actors give great performances. Chase Infinity, super performance, star-making role. She's definitely got a future. She's terrific. Teyana Taylor does a lot with very little. And Sean Penn, he's completely enjoyable. So all the performances are good. And is there a lot there? It's like a paella of stories and styles and genres. But his Black female characters? No, dude. I'm sorry. That's the biggest issue I have with the film.
Whoa.
Biggest issue I have. While Teyana Taylor is amazing, I didn't know that much about her. I did a little research. I'm like, wow, director, choreographer, actress, singer, composer, like, holy smoke. I did not know. She's amazing. At 34, she's got a long career ahead of her. And in the movie, she's a sex addict and she's this revolutionary and in many ways a sociopath, but it leans way too far for me into stereotypes. I know you've seen this happen, and I've seen it as a Black person, and I've seen it as someone who considers myself to be something of a feminist, where you see these characters like a female character that no woman would create a character like that. Or you see a Latino character and you're like, yeah, there's no Latino on earth like that. It just doesn't ring true. And what we see here in this character, because I don't want to say romantic triangle, but there's a triangle between Sean Penn and Leonardo DiCaprio. And there's a question as to whether or not Chase Infinity is the daughter of Sean Penn's character or the actual daughter of Leonardo DiCaprio's
Wow.
character.
So there's all these questions.
All these questions going
that are
on
happening in the background.
In the background. I'm trying not to give away too much, but if you read any review, a lot of this already is in there. But choices she makes, things she does, it leans too far into a fantasy Jezebel stereotype of what a Black woman is, a shallow representation. And then Regina Hall, who's terrific, is hardly used at all. She's just there for the convenience of plot. So for me, those were the weakest parts of the film. Even though Teyana Taylor's character is central in the first act, she disappears. And again, I don't want to give away too much. And the choices she makes.
You know, this brings up a lot of questions for me.
Sure.
Because I did not see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just hearing it through your perspective, through your Black perspective, which is the one I want to hear. Why were the Black characters drawn poorly from your perspective, but not the Latino one?
It's not race as much as it is gender. And I think that most of the movies we've seen throughout history are written and directed by males, and more often by white males. So that means we've seen representations of females, whatever color, any male of any other color through the white male gaze. And I'm very keenly aware, as a film critic and as a person of color and as a screenwriter, filmmaker myself, I'm very aware of representation, all the unconscious stuff that happens. For instance, okay, and you can relate to this, I think, in the film, there's this whole white supremacist organization they're a secret society, and they're Christmas themed, and they greet each other and go, "Hail St. Nick," okay, the Christmas Adventurers Club. And it's played for comedy. And you know what? That white supremacist shit, that ain't funny to me. And when I was in the audience, only the white people were laughing. And I get it. And skewering them, sure. But I didn't find it that funny. So I feel like the film's not quite as hip as it thinks it is, even though it's trying, and I give them an A for effort. And there are some great things about this movie. It's absolutely worth seeing. But you asked.
If you were to confront PTA, this is all hypothetical. Let's say you saw him down the street in Washington Heights, eating mofongo at a restaurant. It's cool to put these white guys into
I love that.
Latino and Black, because it just makes me laugh.
I want to see PTA eating mofongo. Yes, I do.
What would you say to him about that joke?
Here's the thing. I embrace that he's making fun of white supremacists and how ridiculous they are and how
he's mocking them, right?
He's clearly mocking them. But the thing about it is, it's like having a humorous lynching scene. It's crazy that they would bring their kids to the lynching scene, but that to play it for laughs, I get it, but I'm not laughing. So to answer your initial question, does a white writer director have the right or ability to create a Black or Latino character? Yes, they do, in my opinion. But I feel like you should do your homework a little better, and you should be a little more aware and realize what you're saying without realizing you're saying it, which I think is always possible when you're telling a story.
I do think that's true, because when you look at Damon Lindelof in Watchmen, masterpiece. Bro, win as many awards as you want, make as many Black stories as you want. You totally get the Black experience. But we notice that when white directors don't put in that level of maybe commitment to really exploring the deep nuances and specificity of that culture, that's when it gets a little dicey. And the audience knows. If you're Black or Latino and you're writing that character and you're not perfect with it, the way you are with the white characters, because those are perfect. But the other ones, a little imperfect. But Who cares? They're not the majority audience. Even if they criticize, how big is that dent gonna be? I think subconsciously they think of all this stuff, man. Now, I'm not saying that PTA is doing this, but I am saying we need to get to a place that if people are going to be writing characters outside of their race
And gender.
and gender, they got to nail it, man. They got to nail it. That's what the money's for, man. So you can go get those consultants. Look what Coco did. Lee Unkrich was the director, but he brought in Adrian Molina to co-direct it with him. And when you look at Coco, dude, they nailed the Mexican culture. They nailed all of it, man, because they did their homework. Yeah, I'm a little sad to hear that the Teyana Taylor didn't feel real enough, that felt almost fantastical in some way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was by design.
Well,
And if it was by design, would that make it better?
it's hard to tell because I didn't interview Paul Thomas Anderson. It is quote unquote a comedy. It is quote unquote a farce. And it is quote unquote a satire. So characters are etched larger than life. If I had another flaw, there's a little bit too much Leonardo DiCaprio for me. It's like they just let him do his thing and he's the crazy guy in the robe. And after a while, you've hit this note too many times for me. But all the characters are a little over the top. Benicio is like way beyond cool. He's like super cool. So it's fun. You're enjoying it. And it's set up and payoff. The third act really pays off for everything that's been set up prior. But part of the issue for me is when we have these stories that deal with themes that affect, let's say, people of color. Let's use the film Cry Freedom as a reference, where it's a white-centered story about something that affects white people the least. Same thing with Killers of the Flower Moon, where I feel like we centered on the character who is perhaps the least interesting. And,
Yeah.
And so the other characters, you're like, okay, we have to sympathize with this character. And Leonardo DiCaprio, again, taking nothing away from him because he's great in the film. Chase Infinity, she's really the main female character for the 2/3 of the film. She's terrific. Is there enough balance? I don't know. It's enough balance for me to enjoy the film. But when you're going to create these characters and you're doing the representation, you got the power to make this movie and get this made. You should do your homework. You should think about this character is a mother and she makes some choices as a Black mother that you have to question.
I'll begin by saying this. I know her because I'm a New York Knicks fan. And in the early 2010s, Teyana Taylor started dating a New York Knicks player by the name of Iman Shumpert. And I remember them both going out, and then they ended up having a VH1 special. And around the time, I had been working on VH1 with Nick Lachey on a morning show called Big Morning Buzz Live with Michelle Buteau, the actress that now you see everywhere, all over Netflix and pretty much in everything. And I remember they had a show there, Iman and Teyana.
Oh my God, here we go with Teyana.
And then when she really blew up was when she came out in that Kanye West music video called Fade. Dude, and the music video, Kanye never showed up. It was just her dancing for the whole video. The thing about her is that she is the embodiment of fitness. And it was like, if you ever been to Florence and you've seen the statue of David, just imagine like the female version. That's what she looks like. And so to bring her into a Paul Thomas Anderson movie automatically gives her that cachet and prestige where now she's automatically into the Oscar conversation because of the director and the film and the prestige that gives her.
Right.
And
She's acting with two other Oscar-winning actors.
This is what I'm saying. So she's automatically just been lifted from the music video world, from the VH1 specials, from the choreography for other. She's now a serious actress. Are you noticing a pattern where actors of color that are not necessarily known for prestige getting into prestige out of nowhere? Are we going to see more of this? Are we going to see more of us come into those situations? Because it looks like it, Mike.
As they say, from your mouth to God's ears. I hope so, because I see that beginning to happen. Teyana Taylor is dating Aaron Pierre, and he's just about to be in the DCU. He's one of the Green Lantern, and he's just starting to take off. And so there, now you have a power couple of color, both getting prestige roles in Hollywood at a time when, I don't have to say what time we're in. We all know what time it is. So I hope so. I'm somewhat optimistic seeing this.
Look, this is Teyana Taylor's film career. Stomp the Yard 2 Homecoming from 2010, Medea's Big Happy Family, Party, Coming to America, and the 2023 version of White Man Can't Jump. And, you know, she received a lot of critical acclaim for that 2023 film that she did, 1001. And maybe it was that movie where she left movies, the ones that critics would see as lowbrow, to then hit this prestige place. And I think that maybe 1001 might have been that card.
You know, it's interesting you asked that. I just saw an interview with him and Matthew McConaughey talking about what it takes to move out of a lane that Hollywood puts you in. And Matthew McConaughey was complimenting how The Rock was able to do it with one film, really, and make this jump. Where Matthew McConaughey said he had to stop working for 20 months. He had to stop doing rom-coms because that's what all they were offering him. And it's a great little story where he told how it took all of that for them to start offering the kind of roles he wanted. Now he's had the career he's wanted in the last 5-6 years. It is not an easy thing to pull off. And for her, I think Teyana Taylor is like a force of nature. Seeing what she's done, to go from, and no disparaging on Tyler Perry, to go from Tyler Perry to Paul Thomas Anderson is a huge jump for an actor.
Who does that?
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. Listen, the same thing with Latinos. If your whole acting career as a Latino is in Univision and Telemundo novellas, I'm sorry, we don't consider that prestige television. It's just not. Just look at them. I think they've evolved. The soap has evolved, but not to the place where you're winning Emmy awards.
Yeah,
but I think that what Teyana is showing is that she can play with Tyler Perry and she can play with PTA. And who does that as a Black woman?
The 34-year-old mother of two.
How do you do that? And that is called range, versatility, talent, bro. Just
talent,
crazy talent. Mike, do you recommend this movie for Black audiences, Latino audiences to watch this PTA movie? Because what I like about it is that it's racially very inclusive. So it is for everybody. And I feel that the story, from what you told me, feels very timely right now.
The story is very timely right now. It is prescient. There's some things that kind of make it quasi in terms of its relevance for me, but absolutely entertaining film. And what Paul Thomas Anderson does that we've been talking about here is he really knows how to work with actors and he knows how to cast. From what I understand, it took him years to find the perfect Willa, and He did. And everybody in this film shines. There's not one bad performance in this whole movie.
That's it for this episode of Brown and Black, and if you would like to support this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. Your help will allow us to be heard by many more people. You can follow our comments and opinions on @Brown Black Podcasts on Instagram, YouTube, and now we're on Substack. We'll see you on the next episode of Brown and Black.